How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour, streaming through Spreaker Studio, the 16 Jackson AJ1 Twitter account, and the A2 Jack YouTube channel. And this is the SmackDown Hotel edition of the Liberty Hour, as I coin my show at Sac State that I can't have anymore right now because I'm on summer break. So that's the only thing I'm disappointed about when it comes to school, because I'm happy I'm done with it. So anyways, continuing on with what I was talking about, I was getting into Money in the Bank quite a bit. Probably got about halfway down the card, and I wanted to go on. So I was just talking about the SmackDown Women's Championship between Flair and Lynch. Flair won. That's her 9th reign, and I was disappointed. A lot of people were disappointed in attendance. Basically, Evans comes in with Becky after the match went out to attack Lacey on the outside for costing her the match. Charlotte came out to interfere. They had a 2-on-1 mugging take place in the ring. All of a sudden, Bayley's music hits, and the crowd went nuts. They went absolutely berserk. She comes down to the ring with her briefcase. Originally, there were no intentions for her to cash in. She was just trying to help out her friend Becky from the assault that was taking place. This was just perfect storyline. This is what I mean by the moment of the night, the moment of the year, arguably. Bayley basically, she saved Becky, even though Charlotte ended up getting a decent hit in on Bayley. Charlotte looks back as Bayley was down, was going to inflict more damage. Bayley runs her head into the ring post, and the crowd goes crazy. Bayley is on her knees. The crowd's going nuts. She looks at her briefcase. She looks at Charlotte. She looks at the ref. She looks back to the briefcase, picks it up, looks at Charlotte again, and says, "Fuck it, I'm cashing in." And she goes over to the ref, Mike Chioda, cashes in the briefcase, and does the elbow off the top rope, wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. She's now this Triple Crown champion, tag team champion, SmackDown and Women's champion, the first one in the WWE. And once again, just an absolutely phenomenal moment. She went out in the crowd afterwards, where some people had some signs out there that said Bayley in the Bank. And this gets an A+ for me. This is just the moment. Besides maybe Batista returning and maybe one or two others, this is, in my opinion, the best moment of the year and the best way WWE has booked anything. This was a perfect, great moment for a babyface who deserves it, who has gone through creative hell, like I said earlier. Probably the most underappreciated of the four horsewomen. Very happy to see her win. There's a lot of people, and there's always going to be criticism, and rightfully so for certain things, but there was a lot of people, that I even noticed today that were criticizing this on WWE's Instagram page. My issue is, if you're going to criticize everything WWE does, how are they ever going to know what to do right for the fans? Obviously, if you're a true WWE fan, you see the, competition coming in from AEW. Why are you going to go out there and criticize everything if there's certain things the company is doing which is just historically right when it comes to the booking side of things? You're always going to see that from internet smarks out there, and I dislike that so much. This was a great moment, and it should be considered that by all, in my opinion. Going on from there, we have another squash match between Roman Reigns and Elias. Elias backstage, as Roman was heading to the ring, hit Roman with the guitar. He comes out, and he's actually playing his electric guitar, and this was great. Once again, Elias's charisma is awesome. He has awesome charisma. I wish he would get a push. He goes in, does a great performance, criticizes the Hartford crowd, goes back up the ring ramp, goes almost to the point of backstage, and when Roman's music hits, he comes sprinting out with a Superman punch on Elias, takes him into the ring, bell rings, quick spear, 1, 2, 3. I have no issue with this being a squash match personally. I'm not a huge fan of squash matches, but I think that if you're going to make one, this was probably the way to do it. So I said I can't give a squash match much better than a C+, but with the way that they did this, I'll give it a B-. So that's my thoughts on that. After that, we get what was the match of the night, by far. We get Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the first time in the WWE. Oh my goodness, this was just an absolute festival of wrestling moves. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, if you want to watch a true wrestling match, if you want to learn how to be a true wrestler, this is a carbon copy of the match that you want to have. I mean, it was just phenomenal all around. Rollins, let's see, how did this go? We have the two open, I took some notes on this, two open by fighting pretty much a perfectly technical match back and forth on offense. Neither got the upper hand. Styles reversed a Revolution knee into a neck breaker, but Rollins countered with a buckle bomb and a great frog splash, which you rarely see out of him, for a 2 3/4 count. They exchanged close punches again, pinning combinations again for a while. Rollins nearly executed a perfect roll-up. Styles almost finished off the spinning power bomb. Moment of the match came as Styles hit a reverse superplex into a reverse Falcon's elbow. Still only got a 2 9/10 count. Styles avoided the stomp and locked Rollins into a calf crusher, and they did that for about a minute straight. I thought that might have gone a little bit long personally, but that was probably like my only criticism from the match, if there was any. Champion rolled out of it. Rollins avoided a Pele kick. Styles caught Rollins' stomp attempt, reverted into a Styles clash. Everybody thought that was it. Rollins kicked out right before the 3 count. And then Rollins was next to catch a phenomenal forearm, and he reversed it and followed it up with a super kick into the stomp, which got the victory. Just perfect. I mean, this went on for, I think, 18, 20 minutes, and it flew by. I mean, it absolutely flew by. A+. Match of the night, probably one of, if not the match of the year so far on any WWE programming. And then we come out and we see Lucha House Party, and people are like, why the heck is Lucha House Party coming out? They don't have a match and they're jobbers. Well, they are jobbers because they came out, boom, Lars Sullivan music hits, and he comes out and he destroys all 3 of them. Kalisto last. He actually headbutted Kalisto and broke himself open, got some blood gushing down his head. Which made him actually look even more of a badass in my opinion. But he destroyed all of them, and I don't have a super big issue with it. My only issue is, why are you having Lars destroy 3 minorities after everything that's come out about him? Maybe not the best PR move on the booking side of things for WWE, but that's just me. Anyways, after that, we get the WWE Championship match between Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens. This was overall a pretty good match. I had an issue with some parts of it. I ended up giving this match an A-, B+. I was kind of in between. There wasn't much notes I actually took of it because I was mainly focused on watching the match, and I was running off of great adrenaline from the match before that. Owens winning would have been a fine outcome, but I have no issue with Kingston retaining, especially with what we've seen on SmackDown with Ziggler returning, and we're going to see that at Super Showdown. But this was nice. We saw, a couple Boston Crabs from Owens onto, Kofi. We saw a nice pop-up powerbomb. Kingston countered his Owens stunner attempt into a Trouble in Paradise, which knocked the challenger out of the ring. He came back in, and a little later on, he finished it with another Trouble in Paradise, and that's what won it. So, overall, decent match. That's what I would say. I gave it, like I said, A-, B+. And then we get the one of the night that everyone's talking about, and this was the second best match on the pay-per-view. I would have put it first if it wasn't for the finish, which was so freaking terrible. Vince, you're trashed. And that was the Men's Money in the Bank match, the ladder match between what was supposed to be Finn Balor, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, Orton, Andrade, Ali, and it was supposed to be Sami Zayn, but he wasn't in there, so it was a 7-man match. Even with 7 men, and they don't need 8 men for these matches, this was just absolutely phenomenal. But oh my god, carnage was the word to describe this match. The spot of the match was when there was the sunset flip powerbomb from Andrade from one side of the ladder onto the other, and Andrade landed on the ladder first, so it popped it down. He did it on Finn Balor, and then when he popped it down, when Balor hit the ladder, it sent Balor like 5 feet up in the air, and it just looked nasty, and Balor took a couple more disgusting spots during that match, and I just hope he's okay, because that did not look good whatsoever. Again, these are professionals. They're trained. They know what they're doing. But even trained, it just, some nasty bumps. Andrade took a couple of nasty spills as well out of the ring. Ricochet went through a ladder. McIntyre hit a Claymore. It was nice to see McIntyre and Corbin working together for a bit, but then Corbin turned on McIntyre, and then McIntyre hit a Claymore on Corbin. Before the event was supposed to happen, it was said by, Vince had 2 people in mind to win this match. It was either going to be Drew McIntyre or Ali. Ali was on top of the ladder. I had no issue with him. I have no issue with him winning it. If he had won, I would have been like, okay, cool, that's fine. He was injured. He was supposed to get a WWE title shot in the beginning of the year. He got hurt with injury. It got to Kofi. That's okay. Maybe they can even turn him heel. I was thinking, okay, this might be good. He has his hands on the bottom of the briefcase. And whose music hits? None other than the cancer himself, Brock Lesnar. He comes down the ring, and it was actually pretty... The only funny part of this was when Brock pushed over the ladder and hit the camera guys. But he comes down sprinting, pushes Ali off the ladder. Ali hits the ropes, tips it back up, and Brock climbs the ladder. And some people liked it, but then they realized soon after that, oh crap, this means that Brock might get another title reign. I don't want to see this. This sucks ass. Brock grabs the briefcase, and that's how the show ends. He's like, guess who's back, baby? Yeah, that's trash. That is an absolutely terrible finish. I gave the match still a minus because of everything that happened before that. But the ending gets an F minus. Terrible. Vince, you suck. You just suck. You're out of touch. Like, I saw a tweet. It's like Triple H. He's like saying to Vince, all right, we got all this great talent. We've got, Andrade, Ali, Ricochet, everybody that can get their careers boosted with a big win with the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Who should win this, Vince? Vince says Brock Lesnar. Triple H just looks at him with a death stare. And yeah, I mean, look, like this is once again one of the reasons why I say Punk was right when he said that the business will probably get better off when Vince is dead. And there's so many people that were out there, and rightfully so, saying cancel WWE, cancel their network subscription, saying that they're going to go to AEW now because Double or Nothing is on Saturday. Yeah, I don't blame them. I don't, because I mean it was a pretty terrible way to end it. Unfortunately, it was a great pay-per-view, but we'll see what comes out of this storyline now with Lesnar holding the briefcase, being coined as Beast in the Bank. But overall, that's my thoughts on Money in the Bank. So I'm glad I actually did that. I'm going to have to start doing WWE reviews on my podcast for the future. But anyways, that pretty much does it for this podcast. The reason I actually had the podcast, by the way, on Thursday instead of tomorrow is because I'm going out with some people from the State Hornet tomorrow night, and we're going to have a good time at Top Golf and hang out. So that'll be fun. But I'll be back here either next Thursday or Friday with another podcast. I'll try to have I have a couple people in mind who I might want to have on next week, so they'll definitely be seeing more on the channel. I'm glad I've been able to post some more stuff on my YouTube over the last week. Posted a couple of videos of life outside of college. There will be a video coming out soon. I found my notebook today from last year when I did the research on best player from each team ranked in the 1990s. That will be coming out before I go to the United States Open for golf in about 3 weeks' time, and I will have a vlog for that as well. But that pretty much does it for the Liberty Hour today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you've been able to stick with me for the last 2+ hours, I appreciate it. And yeah, that pretty much does it. We'll be right back here, and let's see if I can do the math. Either 166 hours or add 24 to that, 190 hours. So we'll be back somewhere in between that ballpark. But without further ado, that does it for this edition of the Liberty Hour. Thank you to Mr. Cameron Hart for coming on once again. Peace out, everybody. Have a great weekend. Take care. If I rap it, dude, I live it then. And you can't do it, so ain't no need for mimicking. I'm not innocent, I'm on a mission, so let me finish it. Matter of time before they summon the army in. I'm probably on the FBI's most wanted list. I'm probably going to hung like an ornament. I'm on a life mission to apologize.